Hi everyone, how you doing? Trust you're all well. This video is like a bit of a follow-on from yesterday's vlog. I'm gonna treat this as its own vlog because it's so long. So as you can tell, like this is like pretty much gonna be most of the footage from the time trial on Thursday night, and I'm not gonna edit this now. So apart from chopping out the bits where Charlie went off in front and pulled over the side of the road to allow traffic to go past, and it's just basically going to be as raw as possible. So as you can see, we've got some stats on the left hand side. Don't have to explain those, I don't think, but the course, which you can see at the top of the screen, is kind of, so this first section here where I'm heading out to the turn, it's pretty much sheltered. So on the left hand side of me we have, you can't really see it at the minute, but like a cliff, and when we take that left turn, we're obviously climbing ever so slightly all the way up to there. When we take that left turn, we start to go out onto the open moorland. So this is Bynea's Club 10, and I think there was like 20 riders. I was last man off, or last but one man off. I'm on my road bike. I'm wearing a skin suit. I'm wearing just a standard road helmet, the Hexa helmet actually. I'm wearing some aero socks, but I'm not wearing any overshoes. So that's basically the setup we're running. Nothing too special. So this section is relatively fast because of the way the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing from the bottom right of the screen. If you look at the map at the top of the screen, this is the way the wind is coming from. So this first section, I'm actually getting kind of perfect shelter because of the trees on the left and because of this cliff that you can kind of see to the top left there, all those houses. So this is actually my favorite time trial course out of all the ones that Bynea Cycling Club organise, because this one is more suited to me, and you know, doing kind of over and under efforts, and it's what people call, I guess, a roadman's course. So you know, it's very twisty, there's ups and downs, there's some corners, and so I really enjoy it. But it was very busy this evening. You can see some cars coming the other way on the road. This is the Gower Peninsula, so it's got some of the best beaches in South Wales, and a lot of people come here to surf, and being that it was a Thursday night, there's actually a fish and chip shop near the start line, and there was so many people there, like lining up, not socially distancing. Yeah, I was tempted. I wanted more fish and chips, but yeah, so this is like the first climb on the course right now. It drags more than anything. You can see my speed drops down to like 34k an hour, but there's lots of these rollers along the whole course. So how do I pace a time trial like this? And you'll see throughout, if you kind of keep an eye on the gradient, you keep an eye on the power, and keep an eye on like my actual movement on the bike, you'll be able to see that whenever the road goes uphill, my power just goes up, and it's not uncontrollable. I'm still riding within myself, but I know that because I know the course so well. This is the other thing. If you know the course well enough, you know how long you can recover for on the descents. You know how much you can push on the climbs, because you know how long it's going to take to crest that hill, and you know how long it's going to take to get to the bottom of that hill. So this particular section, we're just about to crest over the top here. This light is amazing, by the way. Like, it's like, I don't know, what was it, like 7:30 in the evening, just like 22 degrees. When we make the turn, actually the light is even better because it doesn't quite glare off the windscreen. And the reason why the GoPro's on the inside is because I've said in the vlog that I don't want to like lose a GoPro then have to buy another one, so I don't trust my my sucker. So yeah, that was a pretty fast downhill there. We're up to 55k an hour for a fair section, so we're not actually worried about, you know, keeping the power on. And the speed is not going to be a problem there. The speed is more of a problem here. The road starts to gradually ease up again. See the gradients going back to -1, 0, and you know, speed is already dropping. But I managed to keep it over 37k an hour up there before we start dropping down again, and the speed kind of just runs away, and my power drops to 350. Here's Charlie. She just speeds off a little bit. I told her actually, because you know, I don't want the car to affect. I don't want the car to affect other road users, like not just the cyclist. I told her if there's a hint of like any kind of cars behind you, just like drive off and then find somewhere to pull in and then let them come through. Although we're just catching up to Guy here. He was also on a road bike. He started a minute in front of me, so this is an ideal opportunity to pull in. I'm pretty sure Charlie pulls in somewhere here on the left, because you can see I'm coming up like pretty quick behind, and so yeah, I'm just about to pass now. There we go. So like she pulls out and she catches back up quickly. The car in front of me overtakes Guy like just in time. There's the indication there, and overtake. So I'm catching up with Guy like almost at the perfect opportunity, and just about to come up to, it's not really the halfway point of the course, but a lot of people treat it that way because it's a turn, and usually in a time trial, particularly the flat ones, the turn is usually the halfway point. So I passed Guy. Charlie just sits behind him for a little bit. I'm not sure whether Guy, I haven't seen his Strava, I'm not sure whether Guy was like going as hard as he could, as in like taking the time trial seriously. I mean, he was on a road bike, but I was also on a road bike and I was taking it seriously. So pass another rider. Oh, by the way, the backlight I'm using is I don't want to bodge this now. It's a light from Exposure. So I reached out to Exposure. I'll mention this in a vlog properly, and I told them like the stuff I'm going to be doing probably, you know, the end of this year, going into the winter and next year, is probably going to require like some pretty heavy duty lights, and they're a British brand. And ironically, a lot of the brands that I support and love, oh, nice left turn here, ooh, tasty. There was a car there coming the other way. It was a good. Some of you are going to wince at that, but the thing is, when you know the corner so well, it's a completely different story. You know, if I didn't know that corner, then you know I would have been a lot more cautious there. But I know the course so well. You know what line you can take. So yeah, Exposure. I work with a few British brands now, and I'm associated with you know, good few that aren't just, you know, British brands, but they're also big on safety. Exposure obviously as a light company, big on safety. Hexa, British company, big on safety. Shockbox, in a way, you know, they're big on safety because they keep your bike safe when you're traveling. So anyway, I digress. This section, so basically from where I was talking about Guy at the bottom through that kind of shaded section before we took the left turn, basically from there to just around this corner is where I really invest probably the most of my energy throughout this whole time trial. I always have done. I found that that's the most efficient way and fastest way to cover ground in this time trial, because at the end of the day, it's not about like the power, even though like, you know, this video is all about like me setting a new 20-minute best power. It's not about the power. The power is secondary. The guy who wins the time trial is the guy who's the fastest. So ironically though, because this is a what we'd call a hilly time trial, then obviously power plays a big part. But this time trial course is actually quite good in a way of kind of sucking that 20-minute effort out of you, because you're really kind of focused on, you know, expending a lot of energy early on. So that first section, that flat road, you can settle in straight away at a really high power, and then when you come up all the way up to here, this is probably the end of it. I'd say this is where my investment ends, is at this cattle grid just coming up in a second. I've now kind of said to myself, well, I've done 8k, which is pretty much halfway. But in terms of time, that first 8k takes you the longest. So the second 8k, even though it's quite hilly, you've got a couple of climbs left to come, which you'll see in a sec. You actually spend less time on it because you have some equally fast descents on that section, which, you know, also eat up the kilometers. So Charlie pulls ahead here. She just to get out of the way of this car and the motorbike coming up behind. So she pulls over, and just to the right there actually is Kevin Bryn. It's a very nice climb on the Goa. Yeah, so I've gone past. She pulls out again. And like, this section is a false flat, so you'll see the gradient kind of change between, I guess, -1 and +1. But this is where you're just trying to hold on, for me anyway, because I've put so much into that first section where you go, you know, you get to that left-hand turn, you get up the climb, you've expended a lot of energy and a lot of power up to that point, because you know that you want to get that done, you want to get that over with, because with what's to come with the descents, especially for someone like myself, and this is why it's a roadman's course, you know, road racers, they can recover a lot quicker. It's just the way their training is usually. They can recover a lot quicker than a standard time trialist. A time trialist will usually train in just those standard kind of, you know, those standard kind of threshold zones and those blocks, you know, the 3x20 minute and things like that. Whereas a road racer will generally train over and under, you generally train a lot of different zones. So this is why I think it's imperative really for a time trialist to actually work that as well, because a course like this, you can see it's super quick now. This is actually the fastest section of the course. Well, it is actually tonight because of the headwind on the next ascent, where I'm coming up to 70k an hour. Very little pedaling, in fact freewheeling. Come around this corner, Charlie actually said that she had a hard time keeping up with me down here, which, to be honest, I don't blame her. Really tricky section under the trees. There's a bit of a bump there, and then you come up and over this cattle grid, which is a little bit sunk in the road, which is horrible. Any of you hit those kind of cattle grids, they are horrible. They're not like level with the road exactly. They have that little kind of lip when you go over them. Really dangerous, especially when you're on a time trial bike. So hit this berg, as the kids call it, and power just goes up. And I know that kind of this section is only like, this climb's only like a minute and a half for me. So I know that to go here, I've just got to go. And Charlie goes. She disappears off the road. Now this is where it starts to get like really hectic in the time trial. So because, as you can probably tell, I've probably only caught about 2 or 3 riders up to this point. There's a lot of riders now. It causes a lot of traffic jam in this last section, because this is the part of the course now where the biggest difference is visible between, you know, I guess the fastest rider and the slowest rider. But even kind of in the middle range, the people in the middle of the field, you know, these climbs, like, probably I'm putting, even in a minute and a half climb, I'm probably putting about 20 seconds into somebody, possibly even more. And this last climb, as you'll see, Charlie actually pulls off and parks to the side of the road here. There isn't actually that many places, but we'll pick up the next clip on that. This just literally flattens out and then goes down really fast, so we're not really missing anything. Okay, so this is the last climb now. You can see the dot at the top of the map there. We've moved along a fair bit. And this part of the climb, someone taking a photo on the left. I haven't seen that photo yet, by the way. I probably look like a right mess. You can probably see just in front, there's a white car, and then there's a tractor and a trailer. It's not the only one, actually, because further up the road, there's another tractor and a trailer. Both of them pulled out the same road to get onto this course. So luckily I'm in front of the tractor that we can see, but I'm not in front of the tractor in front. like further in front. So you can see there's a lot of riders bunched up. We've now passed, so there's 2 riders there, there's 2 riders, there's another rider here, that's 3. We passed 2 riders further back in the clip before, there's another one, so that's like 6 riders we've passed in the space of maybe 2k, probably less than that. But this section of road, you can see all my data's still right here, by the way, it's just you can't see me. I'm just a little bit in front in the cars, but I'm kind of hanging on a bit now. I'm about 20 minutes into this effort, and we passed another rider, but the gradient and everything is still correct. So that climb is probably around 5% for about a k&a-half. You do carry a lot of speed into the bottom of it. There is a big dip, the Big Dipper, and you go straight into it. But you can now see, if you look at my power numbers, that I'm getting onto this flatter section over the top. And this is where it all starts to fall apart, really. And we don't really need to see. I could have cut this out of the video. So if you want to leave now, you can go. But basically, what happens here is we're on this kind of false flat at the top. We're just about to take the final left-hander, which indicates about a mile to go, about 1.6k. So you invest. You get over the top of here. You can just see me on the left, to the left of this white car in front, and the tractor's overtaken me. And I knew it was coming. I could hear the tractor. This has probably happened to you guys in the past as well. It commits, it overtakes you, and then it realizes when it gets kind of alongside you that you are now hitting the downhill and you're not slowing down. So what happens is I'm forced to brake because he's overtaking me too slow. Well, he's not too slow. He just doesn't have the speed to get past. So we end up sitting in behind him. You can see me now come around this corner on the left. I'm sat behind the tractor, and that's how it basically stays to the finish. So it's a disappointing end to the time trial in the sense that I get to the top of that crest and the tractor overtakes, and then I can't do anything about it. So yeah, and it gets a little bit messy inside of 3 crosses. So we might have to change this course. If anybody from Bynea is watching, this course, like, it's turned into a really good course, and it is a good course on a bad night. You know, if the weather's bad and like there's only like 6 or 7 of you signed on the race, it's fine. But when there's like 20 of you in a summer night and there's loads of traffic on the road, then it's not too good. Plus, we now have these, like, they're like walls, these speed bumps. They're like, if you hit them at like 50k an hour, they are like walls. So US Challenge is rolling in. I'm like ahead of it now. I'm not this rider. I'm like, I've literally finished. You can see me stop pedaling. But that's basically it. So if you've got any questions, like, I thought, like, it's quite nice to upload the whole thing. We made sure safety was paramount. We made sure that Charlie kept out of the way, and you know, we did it in a safe and controlled manner, and we socially distanced. Anyway, if you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. I really appreciate it.